shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And it is a wonderful Wednesday, and even better because I'm in the company of some very intelligent, eloquent, industrious, motivated, and inspired, as well as inspiring young people in our society. We're going to talk about voters registration and the drive that's coming up tomorrow evening, as we invite you to be a part of a discussion. If you think the future is bright, but you haven't seen nothing yet, join me after the break.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm really honored whenever I get an opportunity to showcase and highlight our young people in particular. Now, if you hear their intellect, you get a sense of their wisdom. You would say they're wise beyond their years. And when you see their motivation, commitment, and involvement in our society, you go, wow, not only is the future bright and beaming, but boy, the present looks so promising. So, chance to introduce these two young ladies, if I may. Aquina?
Yes, that's me.
And to know of you from a distance and to formally sort of introduce myself to you, I feel almost not quite worthy. I should be not worthy. Because you come from great stock. For those of you, she's Aquina Ebanks, better known equal as Quinn. And I if you don't mind, I'd be amenable to call you that.
Yes,
that's
of course.
Okay.
That's my name.
All right, and I'll invite you, if you wish, to share a little bit about yourself, if you wish. And as I turn, to my left and gaze upon another beaming star, as wonderful. Well, I know as Ashley Ebanks, but good afternoon to you.
Afternoon.
I smile expectantly, jubilantly today because this morning was rainy. Mm-hmm. This last few months, gloomy.
Yeah.
There's a weight. I mean, even the clouds were heavy, dusty. You couldn't go outside. You see anything. So you feel this thing. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes when you peel back the veil and you see young people like yourselves with such promising potential, such expectation, you're mindful. This is why our parents and grandparents and their parents and grandparents served and sacrificed so much.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that we could inherit a land, and that is incumbent upon us. So when I see, I'm thinking, you know what? If I get accused today of being really happy, well, there be it. All right, Ms. Quinn, we may start with you first. We will talk about voters registration, and I'm going to ask you a bit, but only if you wish. You want to share anything about what sort of driving you guys to take this step, and I commend you for it. You and young people like yourselves. I must confess, I'm not as young as I look. I don't necessarily know social media. So when I stumble upon this, I'm thinking, Susan is probably young. She's definitely right. I don't admit that publicly, but she's actually right. I need to get on this social media thing. This sounds like a place to be.
That's where people's at.
Yeah, that's where they are. That's okay, man. I'll be home. thank you for letting me reach out to you and give you a chance. So,
thank you for reaching out to us as well.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do. It's such a good opportunity to be able to come and talk to the public about what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and our goals and our objectives of Register to Vote KY, and just personally as well, because Ashley and I both have different goals, but a common end result.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that's what makes it, fun. I mean, I love football. And just the first 11, right? They themselves can't necessarily do everything. There needs to be a good bench, a substitute bench to put on.
Oh, yeah.
But the first 11, from the striker to the goalkeeper and everybody in between, they all have a role and a goal, but they all have the same sort of, outcome. They want to represent the team as best as possible and make the fans continue to be sort of satisfied. So if you work together, it's going to be that much better.
Oh yeah, we work together, definitely.
Let's ask, if I may ask you, what was, as Quinn was sharing, what was the thing that motivated you guys as young people, as you finding your way in life, and you're seeing, hey, let's get registered to vote? I mean, I couldn't wait to get registered to vote. I remember going early.
Same here.
What? So why? What's the whole thing?
Well, for me, I'm going to speak on behalf of myself.
Yeah.
For me, I see like a lot of the things that are going on around the world, and I realize that I know probably more about American politics than I do even about Caymanian politics. And I realize that it's not taught to us in school. We're not inspired to go out and get involved in the community and to even register to vote.
Yep.
They don't tell us a lot of the things that we really need to know. And I was speaking on some political events. And Quinna swiped up to me, and then we just started talking, and it was a deep and fruitful conversation. And then she's the one who actually helped me register to vote. Yeah. And I was like, this is awesome, because I didn't even realize the steps were so simple. It's just that we don't get guided towards doing it. So I felt like this is something awesome that everybody should have. And then Quinna brought up the idea to me. And so I think that this is a great opportunity for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Definitely.
There is this perception that getting registered to vote is difficult, or at the very least it should be easier, but it isn't difficult. Well, I didn't find it. Maybe Quinn, you share with us.
No,
it's not.
Simple. It's not difficult. What they're asking for is basically what everyone has. They're asking for a completed registration form. If you're a Caymanian, they're asking for your birth certificate and your Caymanian parent birth certificate, and then just a photo ID, so your passport or your driver's license, everyone should have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And with that in mind, there are those of us who, like the three of us, couldn't wait to get registered. I mean, I remember.
Oh man, I was so excited.
Yeah.
The election was going to be that year. That would have been, I didn't have to wait for, like some of my friends. They had to wait another 3 or 4 years, even though they got registered before they could vote. I got registered to vote in, as I was eligible, and the election was the same year. So there's something about having an election in an even year.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it was the best thing in the world. But for those who are now facing it, I know there's a voters registration drive you having tomorrow evening. So let's tell us about that now, so we can continue talking more about it. Where is it? When is it? How do we get there? What do we bring? Tell us about it.
Okay, so we will be having a voters drive tomorrow at Lucky Slice. That's upstairs from Central Terrace. That's at the Bay Shore Mall on Waterfront. It's from 4 to 9 p.m. And, the only thing I would really ask for you to bring is yourself and some friends. And, like a attitude to be like, let's do this.
All right.
That's all I'm asking for. We are going to follow up with everyone that comes, just in case they don't have their documents on hand or anything like that. We are going to follow up with them as much as we have to get those documents, so that we can get these people registered to vote. But yeah, just come, be excited. We're going to have food, music, 2 pretty girls. It's going to be nice.
Another thing I just want to cut in there. Another thing is that you don't...
Sorry.
You go.
Another thing is that you don't have to be 18 to come. Please just show up. Like, there's another thing too that I used to think that I had to be 18 to register, but actually, as long as you're turning 18 before the election date, you can still register to vote.
Yep.
So if you
so all 17-year-olds, if you are turning 18 before or on 26 May 2021, please know you can register to vote. You can register to vote.
Yeah, because if the election, if you're 18 birthday is the day of the election,
Yeah.
on or before the election day,
Exactly.
you're good to go.
You're good to go.
registered. If you're the day after, then you're a
Yeah,
day late and a dollar short.
Yeah.
But wait till the next time. Right? So 17 coming. We have the election, as I understand it, scheduled for next year, May. I should actually know the date. It was announced.
The
26th.
26.
Yes.
See that, boy?
The 26th of May.
It wasn't a test. I honestly didn't remember it. I mean, Amjad did call and say it's probably be postponed, but he.
Oh, just a FYI, there will be a full moon on 26th of May.
Oh, yeah.
Next year?
Next year.
So all the women,
it might be really powerful.
They're coming to that. So tomorrow evening, tomorrow's Thursday, at Lucky Slice, from what time again?
From 4 to 9 p.m.
4 to 9 p.m. And we'll get back into that. Just quickly pause, take a short little break, come back, we'll talk more about it, talk about the website and all the stuff, and have you guys share with us. I am excited, man. This is amazing.
Same here.
All right. I'm not sure if we were able to pay the phone bill. Miss Susan, did we pay the phone bill? But the best way to check, because these days the receipts come electronically and they probably won't receive. So call us. You want to see some young people who are not just involved and engaged and informed, but inspired. Well, share encouragement. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
BIP messaging app made simple. Keep the good times going, even when you're social distancing. Download BIP and be together. Message, call, or video chat with friends, family, co-workers, anyone. Touch base with 1, 2, or 10 people at the same time. Shh. Send secret messages. Translate multiple languages. And you get free app messaging available only on the Digicel network. It's your call. So make the most of it with BIP. Stay connected. Start living. Get bipping. Download BIP today.
Hey, hun, what you doing?
Putting things away in the shed since it's hurricane season. Preparing for the better.
Don't you mean preparing for the worst?
No, for the better. Since we have BritK Insurance, we're fully covered against hurricanes. Plus, they have response teams ready to help us file a claim faster. If I were preparing for the worst, I'd watch football all day.
Still don't get it.
Isn't there a match on?
Oh, really?
Let BritK prepare you for the better this hurricane season. Call 949-8699 or visit britk.ky.
King Sports Center Art of Fun Summer Camp is back. From July 7th to August 7th. Now, in its 16th year, the Art of Fun Camp is ideal for kids aged 5 through 10 with activities from football, basketball, dodgeball, squash, rock climbing, arts and craft dance, singing, and more. Your child can stay cool while having fun in a safe and secure environment. For more info, email kings.brebanks@gmail.com. That's kings.brebanks@gmail.com or call 946-KING. Like King Sports Center on Facebook, and you can also find them on Instagram or call 946-5464. King Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
4 SUVs, 3 saving options, and lots of reasons you should head to the summer SUV sale now at Vamp Motors. Looking for a Ford SUV with great safety ratings? Save up to $8,000 on a new Edge and $2,000 on a new Escape. Need to accommodate an active family lifestyle? Save up to $5,000 on a 7-seater Toyota Rush. Want a fuel-efficient SUV with sporty style? Save up to $2,000 on the Toyota CHR Hybrid. Get cash back, take the full discount, or upgrade your new SUV.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And as we invite you to be a part of a discussion, we're talking about voters registration being driven by our young people, registered voters themselves. So if there are any of us who are, older than 18 and are not registered yet, who are older than 30 and not registered yet, or who is almost as old as me and Miss Susan and not registered yet, well,
on account of civic duty.
because these young folks here have, set the bar high. And I'm excited because I think as we listen, we recognize that how important it is to be involved, engaged, informed citizens in our country and making a meaningful impact. So as we get into the discussion, Quinn and Ashley, thank you both very much for sharing, your lunch hour with us, as it were. Tomorrow evening, this is for young people, by young people in a sense, as I look at it. But if someone's happened to be out and about and they just come in race and, leave the young people to their thing, that'd be all right. But just come 4 to 9 at Lucky Slice.
4 to 9.
All right, a Thursday then. I mean, what better, way to spend your afternoon?
I mean, 2 for 1 burger is it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah. I was thinking when I heard about it to come by at first, but I thought, hey, young people, man, I'm not going to fit in.
Oh, you're young too. Come on, man.
We're all young.
Well, he was fishing for a compliment. Well, he got it too. That excuse me. No, but I am genuinely moved when I see not only the success of our young people, but the way you have that determination. If I might then, so we're looking at this. We have an election a year out. We've seen people who were campaigning in our minds from the last election, whether they got elected, whether they tried, or whether they were thinking about it, and they started orchestrating. I'm not going to hold it against them. I'm not going to say that's the right or the wrong thing. But if they're doing that, then we as voters must equally get involved and get engaged. Quinn, from that perspective, what is it that we're either missing as a society when it comes to the political landscape, or what is it that we're doing but not doing as best as we could? Your perspective.
I feel like we're not informed enough. I also feel like the pool of candidates is usually the same every election year. So there's not really much of a diverse group to choose from. I am excited to know that I'm seeing some new faces running for the 2021 elections. I'm really excited about that. But I just feel like, new people need to run. People need to be very transparent on their platforms, what they're for, what they're not for, because as voters, we have to make an informed decision to be like, yeah, you align with my morals and my values and what I look for and stand for. So I just feel like, the politicians, they need to have more of a transparent platform and really, really, really be like, as honest as they can about what they're going to do, what they want to do, and what they hope to do. Don't say you're going to do this, and then when you get into office, you don't do it because you only did it for, that sounds good. What
our mothers and grandmothers would say what you got to do and do what you say.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, from that perspective, pick up what Quinn said. Same question. I mean, what is it that we, as a society, doing or not doing enough or not doing properly? What is it we're missing?
I don't think that we uplift our island enough, because I don't think that we talk about the importance of getting engaged in politics. We just, like Quinn said, we have the same faces over and over, so we just let them do whatever it is that they want to do, and we just decide that it's not really that important. We don't get involved. And in school, we're taught that we need to get our degrees so that we can get a job, so we can get
become
money.
Accountants or bankers,
or lawyers or doctors, somebody who's important, quote unquote. And we're not spoken about how important it is to get engaged, to get involved, and get your voice out there, because you matter, you're important, and what you have to say is valued, and you make the ultimate decision to decide who's going to be in those positions of power to make choices for you and your families and your families,
Okay.
So I think that that's what it is. We need to talk about it more and get younger people to engage in it, so that they can keep bringing it down from generation to generation.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And that's another thing too, just to talk to the people our age, because I'm 19 turning 20.
Me too. Not true. I think I was 19.
Turning 20 in 2 months, right? So guys, just know that this is our future that we're fighting for. It's no one else's. It's not our elders' future that we're fighting for. I have lots of respect for our elders. They have to teach us the Caymanan culture that we're losing. So I very much respect and value our elders, but at the same time, there is not their future we're fighting for. At the end of the day, it's gonna be me and Ashley's generation that have to deal with the erosion of the shoreline. You know what I mean? It's gonna be us. The sea levels rising. It's gonna be us to have to deal with it.
You're gonna pay for the costs, economic, financial, social.
Exactly.
Before we go to this caller, I'm just curious. In the schools, they talk about all the important but they never mentioned talk show host. I mean, come on.
Oh my God.
No, it never came up.
I can have it word with the schools.
It never came up.
Let's go to the phones. We have Quinn, we have Ashley, and I'm excited. Let's join the callers. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and good afternoon to the two young ladies.
How are you? How are you?
I am rough, regular, poor, sober, and ugly, but thankful and blessed.
That's good.
Well, it could be worse. You could say your best beer. I mean,
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't hide, you know.
thank you for calling, man.
Yes, man. I had to call because it's important, not only important, very important to register to vote.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I am up on top of the hill looking down on the other side. So I have no higher to go. I have to go down again. You all are young and coming up. You all haven't reached the top yet. So my advice is get out and vote.
That's
Get
right.
registered.
100%.
That's right.
Get registered. If you don't vote, you don't have a say. So it's not no good. It's not no good. You sitting back at the sideline and saying, "Hey, look, I need this done. I need that done." Did you vote? No. Well, I'm not registered. No, that's not good enough.
So true, man. So true. And I think we need to do that. You're right.
It's a joy and a privilege to vote.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Because
man.
you can make the difference.
So true. Well,
And I'm proud of you two young ladies for getting out there and making the push.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
thanks very much. Thanks very much, man. And good to hear from you again. We do have another caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and to those two pretty ladies around you. You're
Yeah,
the lucky man.
Hey, listen, I'm blessed, man. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get Miss Susan everything you called before we put you on. We got to get a third world song. Mr. Reggae Ambassador. Whoa, 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 yeah, it's Amjad. Come on, man. How are you, man? How are you?
I'm all right. I'm fine. And Dwayne, I really very happy that those two young ladies come
Yes,
out
sir.
for this important subject.
Yes, sir.
And this is an issue from long time in Cayman and a problem that the young people really not interested in going and voicing their voices.
Okay, I want you to do me a favor. I don't want to be disrespectful. If you're on the speaker or somewhere in there, because I don't want not only to miss anything you're saying, but I don't want anybody else. So I don't wish to say that publicly, but go ahead and fix it up. But he's right. The young people, you're now and the tomorrow. And whatever we do affects all of us, but you more so than, those who are under 50 versus, over 50, right?
Yeah, it affects us.
All right. So Amjad, you were sharing. Sorry about that, but thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Much better.
Dwayne, first, I think, if we notice, a lot of young people in Cayman from many, many years, they don't register, they don't vote. And, the same faces from many years, they are the same politician. We just recycle them. And it is a problem. It is becoming a serious problem in this country. I know there is effort being made last election by MLA Kenneth Bryan as a young politician, as a young voter, to register the young people. And he did very good job in doing so. And I think we need faces and young faces to be politicians in the front line because we need the new ideas, new thinking. I think the young people, young Caymanians, are very intelligent. I sit down with a lot of young Caymanians, like the ladies sitting in your office. I
Susan?
really, I think those young intelligent people, it is their time to be in the front seat to lead this country to the better of what is good for the Caymanian people in all, and what is good for even people who come to and choose this country to live.
Right.
And I want you to put out to those two ladies the question, please, what they think if we really, because of the situation with coronavirus, with all these issues, that economy, the stop of the cruise ship, and all of those issues, that we put off the date of the election at least 6 months further down.
So something you had mentioned before, right? So you want us to ask ladies to give us their perspective whether we should postpone the election or have it as scheduled next year. All right, Amjad, good question or not, but that's how we pose it, respectfully to him and to our guests. Let's just pause, take a quick final break. If you wish to weigh in on that answer and the question, fair enough. If not, but we take some other callers. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Register now for the 3rd Annual Chamber of Commerce Economic Forum, taking place online on Friday, August 14th. This year's theme, Rebuilding a Better Cayman, will tackle the effects the COVID-19 pandemic has had on the local and regional economy and how the private and public sectors can work together to create a more durable and more sustainable future. Don't miss out. Visit caymanchamber.ky to register for a full day or half day today. Corporate ticket bundles available. In partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. The forum is made possible thanks to sponsors CUC, DART, Kensington Management Group, Cayman Enterprise City, and Hurley's Media.
We are now in the hurricane season, and to survive a hurricane, you need to be informed. If you have been informed by official sources that a hurricane is approaching the Cayman Islands, and you live in a low-lying area that is prone to flooding or near the beaches, which may be swept by high tides or storm waves, please seek a safe place and high ground. If the only way for you to get is a road that is also likely to be flooded during a storm, please leave home early. Don't run the risk of being stranded. This has been a public service announcement from your community station, Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And as we talk about voters registration, Quinn and Ashley join us, ladies, as the callers shared. It is truly, truly an honor and a privilege to see such young people like you. It reminds us of the stories of our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents who at tender age took up the reins and carried on and pushed us to where we are. Now, we do have some callers, but respectively, the last caller asked the question, what is our thought, meaning you guys, on postponing the election 6 months? He called last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, he said, well, a year or so. If you wish to answer, and only if you wish to answer, should we postpone it? Do you have a perspective, Quinn?
Yeah, I do not think that we should postpone the election day at all, but I do think that we should extend the period in when you're allowed to get registered to vote so that you are on the actual electoral voting.
The register?
Yeah, the actual register, which the deadline for that, I believe, is the 3rd or the 4th of January 2021. So I think that we should extend that so that more people will be able to actually vote in the 26th May election.
So I got 5 fingers on one hand, make sure. Yeah, still got 5 fingers, thank God. So 3rd to the 4th are the very first couple of days in January.
Yeah, the first week.
February, March, April, May. So 5 months is, into the month, May 26th.
5 more months to get how many more people registered. You know, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
So okay, Ashley?
Well, no, because I understand that they have to organize everything
in a timely fashion.
So I understand where they're going for, but if it could be possible that they could extend that would be great, because it would be very helpful to so many different people.
I also understand that, they give that time period because it takes 3 months to actually for them to go through the process and then, call you back for the voter's ID and get you within the system and all that. I understand that.
Okay. Well, something to consider.
I understand that. But maybe we could look into shortening that time. You know what I mean?
We got computers, right?
We got computers.
Right.
We do a lot of things electronically now.
Thank you for broaching up, because until you said it, I did not quite appreciate that 5 months cut off to... Okay, fair enough. We do have a caller or 2 or 25. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Dwayne?
Oh, man. I am overjoyed and so elated to know that we have such intellect and such a determined effort by our young people. Man, this corona thing had me wondering if we had any good people left.
There's plenty of good people.
Yes, sir.
Definitely very inspired by Quinn and Ashley. How are you doing?
Hi, Eden. Is that you?
It is me.
I knew I recognized the voice.
Hi, Eden.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hey, Eden.
So good to hear you all on the radio and pumping this up and inspiring people to get out to get registered to vote. And really just happy to be a part of this and support in this initiative. This is very important, and this is an important election coming up, and so it just really works out so just perfectly that you all got registered to vote KY going, and that that this event is happening. I totally support what you're saying in shortening the period for people being able to get on the register, and also extending the deadline past January 4th to be able to actually register, because there's going to be a lot of interesting things with students going back after Christmas time, students going back and being in different parts of the world and being able to do the postal ballot. So I think it's important for to keep everybody invested in our election system, that everyone have every chance they can get to be on the register and have their say on election day.
So true. Thanks very much. I hope that's something that we could do, Miss Ashley. If you wanted to share, if not, Eden, anything else? Thank you so much for sharing. Go ahead.
I just want to support their efforts and let folks know that that at Central Terrace there is an elevator, so that if anyone has any mobility issues or anything, this is accessible to everybody.
Perfect.
So it doesn't just have to be spry 18, 20-year-olds coming out there. If you want to bring Granny, she can come up there and look at the sea and
bring your
listen
grandma.
to
She can
music.
come.
And if uncle or auntie hasn't registered yet, bring them out there, right? We have almost 6,000 unregistered Caymanians. Okay? So that the unregistered vote can literally change the election. We have over 2,000 people who are ages 18 to 24 unregistered, and that has got to change. And that is what Quinn and Ashley are really attacking full force with this. So I hope everybody brings a friend, brings a nephew, brings a cousin, and come on out there and get registered and get empowered with the power of the vote.
Well, thank you for lending your support and your voice to this, Eden. As you share, is very important. So thanks very much, man.
Thank you, Eden.
Definitely.
Thank you, Eden.
You all are very inspiring. More power to you.
So true. All right, we do have another caller. Let's just go to the phones and wrap. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I guess you got some live ones on there today.
They remind me of a young Mr. Banks way back when. I heard he was. Good afternoon, sir. I am so glad that you're calling in.
Yeah, they've spoken some very, very wise words there. And maybe a few of them, maybe an edited version of some of their commentary could be excerpted out and disseminated at the appropriate targeted or the appropriate target coming from young people, and from that aspect.
You could do the news and do a PSA as well. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's good to hear them, and I wonder if within their consciousness, if there's any thoughts of a May candidacy.
I haven't declared yet, sir. Oh, sorry, you're talking about them. I'm just trying to deflect. You want me to ask them to answer that?
Well, they heard it, I guess. That was just, because...
I know.
Yeah, they really sound impressive. I would be just interested to know what are their age brackets.
Yes, sir.
Well, I can't speak on any other candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak on myself.
Mm-hmm.
2025, I do plan to run. So, when that time comes, I'll appreciate the support. Connor Ebanks for West Bay Central, that's me.
I need a few more years to get a little bit more informed, and then we'll see. We'll see about my candidacy.
All right. Okay, well, Mr. Banks, what do you think? I mean, God's willing will be around to nominate him. What do you think?
Well, hopefully. I'm three quarters from start to finish, but maybe I'll still be around.
God's willing. I pray you are, sir. I pray you are.
And they're talking about a very, very important subject there. They should be. I'm sure they're reminded that it doesn't come free. It has to be defended every day. And another thing that they mentioned, that I think one of them mentioned that they knew more about, I guess, North American politics than they knew about Cayman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is something that has been, gone over and over and over, and nobody seems to want to do much about it. But
well, it's a new generation, sir. Mm-hmm. It's a new generation, and we want different things.
Right. Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you familiar with CI Retro?
I'll brief on quickly, but I was going to say that tomorrow's show, when we talk about, that's going to be an opportunity to understand it. So it's a production Mr. Loxley has done, and in men's historical perspective, not just the global perspective, but the Caymanian, sort of centric view, right, Mr. Loxley?
Right, and then the one next Thursday.
Okay. Yep. I'll give him an overview. In fact, I'll do it publicly for everybody else, So I'm excited, man. I mean, I'm got my hair done, all that for tomorrow. All right. Thanks again, Mr. Banks. Anything finally you want to quickly say as we go to the news?
No,
all right.
No. Just to say, there's some live ones there today, and hopefully that they can influence some other ones to pick up the mantle and move on with the defense and preservation of democracy at the level that some of our forefathers, addressed it.
There you go, sir. Hey, thank you very much, and forgive me for rushing along. I gotta remember. I believe we have one quick call with potential right before the news. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Doreen. This is Kenneth Bryan, and good afternoon to your panel.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
How are you?
Mr. Kenneth Bryan.
Afternoon.
Afternoon, guys. I just want to say congratulations. I am so proud of you guys doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an important part of our future to come out and stand firm on democracy. And obviously, we're not always going to agree on what's the best way forward for the country. But that's what democracy is, and that's the filtering process about finding the best solutions for moving forward. And to see you guys engage in this from a young age is amazing. It makes me feel good about the future, regardless of what our political future will be.
Mm-hmm.
I know there will be people who will be engaged, and encouraging young people to get registered to vote is so important, because it gives us a better balance of the true nature of what the majority really wants. Because I must say that the voice of the younger people are not reflective of the candidates, because they're not the strong majority in the vote. So this is so key, and I congratulate you. Is there anything I can do? I'd be happy to help myself. And
I'll keep that in mind.
No problem, man. I'd be happy to come in. Actually, matter of fact, I know you got me on social media.
Oh, yeah. I'll message you on Facebook. I'll message you on Facebook.
I'm on the radio tomorrow, so I'll promote your thing tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
Because it's that important. Myself and Mr. Eden, who had called in earlier, started a similar thing back in 2012 called Grasp Your Future Voters Registration Drive.
Right.
So I know you got to go to a break, but I just want to say congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work. Susan has my number in the studio if you ever need to call me directly. But just I'm proud.
Thanks, man. Very, very much. I mean, you were promoting radio tomorrow. You said you want to talk today, yesterday. So, you know, ladies, thank you, Mr. Bryan. And if I can, without overstepping, publicly say thanks, but equally invite you and as many of your cohorts who wish at any point to use the public media to not just get your message out, but to engage, to shape the political landscape.
Yeah.
In closing, perhaps Ashley, quick sort of call and our invitation for tomorrow evening, and then followed by Ms. Quinn.
Yeah. So once again, 4 to 9 p.m. at Lucky Slice at Central Terrace. As Eden said, there is an elevator, so if you need to use that for assistance, it's there. And we really, really look forward to having everybody out there. There will be refreshments, and we will also be bringing the application form. So all you really need to do is bring yourself and maybe a pen. Yeah. That's about it.
There you go.
Please show up. It's a really big thing for the community, and we really look forward to seeing a bunch of faces out there.
All right, so each one bring one. Ms. Quinn, if you want to add anything quickly.
I think she summed it up perfectly.
Awesome.
The only thing I would add is this is a safe space for all Caymanians, all people. It doesn't matter what you look like, what you like, who you are, or who your mama is. You're safe with us.
Yep.
Right.
We do not
100%.
judge nor discriminate.
Okay, so all those best players, you're welcome to come in.
Yeah.
I can get away with that. But thank you all, and as the callers all shared, we're really, really proud of you guys for your enthusiasm, industriousness, and may God continue to guide you, give you wisdom and counsel, but provision and protection. So
thank you.
Tomorrow evening, 4 to 7. I keep saying that.
4 to 9.
4 to 9.
See,
4 to 9.
People like me would be 7 o'clock. 4 to 9.
Caymanian time, man.
All right, we're gonna pause and take a break, but when we come back, we'll have some more talk today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Mobile health and wellness check units continue in West Bay and Georgetown on Friday, with the physical health check done by doctors from HSA, the mental health check being conducted by a number of agencies, including the Wellness Center, the Family Resource Center, and the Alex Panton Foundation. To book an appointment or for more information, you can call 547-0918 or email health@redcross.org.ky. In international news, rescue workers in Lebanon are searching for dozens of people missing a day after a huge explosion devastated the port area of the capital, Beirut. The blast, which shook the city, killed at least 113 people and injured more than 4,000 others. The Duchess of Sussex has been allowed to keep the names of 5 friends who gave an interview about her secret in her case against the Daily Mail on Sunday. Meghan is suing Associated Newspapers for breach of privacy and copyright infringement after it reproduced parts of a letter sent to her father in 2018. Satellite observations have found a raft of new emperor penguin breeding sites in the Antarctic. The discovery lifts the global emperor population by 5 to 10%, to perhaps as many as 278,500 breeding pairs. It's a welcome development given that this iconic species is likely to come under severe pressure this century as the continent warms. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle,
modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
The Wharf is your only waterfront breakfast and lunch atmosphere along the shoreline. Starts at 7 a.m. with freshly squeezed juices, hot coffee, and your farm fresh eggs.
The unique sunset happy hour and dinner ambiance is your obvious choice for your waterfront dining. See you soon for salsa and boogie nights at the Wharf.
Follow us on Facebook to keep in the loop of all the happenings and come and join us at the all-day waterfront experience on the 7 Mile Beach.
Register now for the 3rd Annual Chamber of Commerce Economic Forum, taking place online on Friday, August 14th. This year's theme, Rebuilding a Better Cayman, will tackle the effects the COVID-19 pandemic has had on the local and regional economy and how the private and public sectors can work together to create a more durable and more sustainable future. Don't miss out. Visit caymanchamber.ky to register for a full day or half day today. Corporate ticket bundles available. In partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. The forum is made possible thanks to sponsors CUC, DART, Kensington Management Group, Cayman Enterprise City, and Hurley's Media.
This is an important announcement from Customs and Border Control. Due to a record number of imported goods and the potential for inclement weather due to hurricane season, customers are required to collect their packages as soon as possible. If you are using an agent to clear your goods, please ensure that you have completed the appointment of agent form and send it to your agent 48 hours prior to your goods arriving. For persons self-clearing goods, it will be necessary for you to log in to CBC's online portal by visiting www.cbc.gov.ky and register at least 48 hours before your shipment arrives.
On Thursday at 12:15 p.m. on Radio Cayman, CI Retro Talk Today historical series returns to the air, when the focus will be on our Cayman Islands' bad weather, hurricane preparedness practices over the years. From the appearance of the sundog, catboats in the bushes, tied-down roofs, and many practices in between, to, well, we'll leave that to your imagination. For now, CI Retro Talk Today is being brought to you by Parsons Air Conditioning, Refrigeration and Appliances on West Church Street in West Bay, now offering the ultraviolet light rated for the COVID-19 virus stream, which cleans and kills all airborne contaminants and pathogens at a very affordable price. Call Parsons at 949-3945. 949-3945. CI Retro Talk Today is also being brought to you by the Ministry of Culture, always working to preserve in a sustainable manner a record of our Cayman Islands' history, heritage, and culture for generations to come. It is said that the success of our future is highly dependent on the level of light we can shine on our past. So tune in on Thursday at 12:15 p.m. for Radio Cayman's CI Retro Talk Today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. Could we bore your ear for just a little bit longer? We're gonna have some open line at 1:30, but in order to ensure, as Mr. Loxton Banks has constantly reminded us, the importance of being prepared during the hurricane season, we have from Hazard Management an opportunity to appreciate that we have, as a nation, taken these preparations very seriously. And now that we are able to get formal instruction and guidance, we have, the provision, as it were, it makes it an excellent opportunity. So we have 2 guests in studio, and one joining us. Would that be electronically, virtually, just via the telephone? What do you say? We got a little phone line, so we got to connect up to, in a second. But maybe for our listeners, maybe go around the table and Mr. Warner, just do the introduction, and Ms. Patrice, you and then Mark will bring him in. Would that be fine?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect stuff.
Good day to the listening audience. My name is Leslie Lennox Vernon. Everyone knows me as Lennox. I work at Hazard Management, and I'm in the logistics section. And my main focus or responsibility is to do with shelters.
Okay, Ms. Patrice?
Good evening, listening audience. My name is Patrice Walcott. I am a police constable, and I'm seconded to Hazard Management for a year now.
And I know everybody listening go, yeah, I wonder if she's Sir Derek's daughter. Yeah. Mr. Mark, good afternoon to you, and I hope you're having as much fun watching and listening to us as we are going to have in the studio. How are you today?
Not bad, Mr. Evans. Not bad. Good afternoon to your listeners as well.
Okay, thank you.
Doing good, I'm doing good.
All right. Could we respectfully and just maybe formally ask you to give an introduction for our listeners as well as...
Well, I'm Mark Codlin. I'm Hazard Mitigation Officer.
Okay. And we'll come back to that. I know she said, mitigation, but I thought maybe just hazard, we just leave it at that. But if he was in the studio, I would have fun if we had more time. But Mr. Lennox, from that perspective, we see the weather, and for some of us, and not me as much as some of my immediate family, it fascinates them. I mean, the little extra dew in the morning because you're up a little earlier and it looks like almost snow, they get excited about it. Outside, they see, the clouds doing a little dance and they get excited. I'm thinking, okay, it'll be a little shade. But today is the 5th of August.
Yes.
We had a couple of named storms and hurricanes and some bad weather about the place. Sadly, the loss of life as we understand it from the news.
Yeah.
So as much as I, may sound like I'm being jovial, I want us to never, ever, ever take our eyes off the ball and never, ever understand how serious it is. So this is why at the outset I say I'm so grateful that we have not just an organization like Hazard Management, but that we spend so much time and emphasis and effort on preparation. So share with us now as we have this discussion, because we have shelters, we have people who need to serve as shelter wardens, but we also have different things that we need to consider. So would you lead us in the direction, sir?
Thank you very much. Yes, my area of responsibility has to do with logistics and so on. However, there's a high focus on shelters, and although my time within government has been about 2 decades now, that 2 decades was in public safety. That most of my experience has to do with public safety from 911, where most people know me. But I've transferred over to Hazard Management, and although I can bring a lot of the tools over and utilize them, I'm looking at disasters from quite a different perspective now, as opposed to being on the operational level, so to speak, to looking at it from a national and strategic level. So as mentioned, I focus a lot on shelters, and this year, as anyone would know, with the COVID-19 pandemic, has made it a bit challenging. While we are responding to the pandemic, we are also preparing our shelters for the hurricane season. So this process has started a few months back. While doing this, the challenge is, in addition to just making sure that the current Class A shelters are ready for the season, we also have to consider the COVID suppression protocols. At the moment, we are thankfully at 3 feet, so our capacity is almost at its normal levels. However, those levels aren't ideal. Unfortunately, we are only about 8% in Grand Cayman, and our director, I should say, has given us some marching orders, which basically says we need to increase these. So we've been doing a lot of work in the last few months, inspecting shelters to perhaps add to the list. And again, that is a whole beast on its own. So,
because you want a space to be safe, and then as you shared, we have these new protocols that we have to consider at the very least.
Absolutely. So one of the unique things, sorry to cut in.
No, sorry. No.
One of the unique things about this year is with the COVID suppression, there's significant consideration given to our elderly. So we want to protect them. Anyone who walks into our shelter with a sniffle, we want to be able to isolate them and put them one side. So there's quite a bit more considerations into this season that, wasn't done previously. So
makes your life a lot more interesting.
New terrain, yes.
Let's walk off from that perspective. I mean, you're managing people, and Mark, I'll bring you back in a second in relation to mitigation strategies and the like, but we have all of this, and hurricanes, for the most part, we have a little lead time, but even that, some of us are not even prepared. But then if we're going to have to move the shelter into consideration, but give us, this whole, from your perspective, or how you see it, and share with us. You come in from the policing background and the like, so.
It has been a very interesting experience, to say the least.
Kind of like moving from East End to West Bay.
Yes, as police, we are used to emergency, as opposed to disaster. So learning the whole disaster mechanism, it's really interesting. And, what I've learned is that, especially being at hazard management, so I've experienced, the pandemic, the earthquake, the land fire, and
not just the first 6 months.
Exactly. And it's the whole aspect of how police ties into the disaster mechanism. It's search and rescue, or be there for support or guidance. It has been tremendous. Just to know that policing is not just for law enforcement, but the whole correlation of working together with the entire disaster team to for the betterment of the country. And
so through the interaction between the various agencies, but also civic society. Mr. Mark, from that perspective, I mean, we're looking at things, and we could probably on paper do tabletop exercises. We can design strategies to help to mitigate against certain things. We could even put in place a contingency for a contingency. But with respect to what Ms. Walcott was sharing, the reality is that when an emergency, we never know how and when certain things are going to transpire and cause the individual to respond in that way. Hopefully the training will kick in and it'll be, almost automatic muscular response. But from your perspective, I mean, what do you say to the public as we consider that this is only, 5 days into August, and already, sadly, we've seen loss of life as a result of what I call tropical weather or subtropical. So from that perspective, what do you tell us, Mr. Mark?
Yes, and thanks again, Mr. Banks, and the listeners. Just in terms of preparedness in of itself, what we're doing as hazard management, and we're focusing a lot on the notification system per se. And I think our notification is what we're really emphasizing. As Patrick alluded to earlier, we had the fire and the earthquake in January 28 in particular. We had that 7.7, which was of a significant impact in the sense of we had several infrastructural damage. And what we are trying to do is to allow the public to be informed in a timely manner. And as such, we're working closely with several stakeholders within government as well as within the private sector to develop a notification system around emails, a mobile app, as well as SMS, and also looking at social media. So basically what we're looking at is once we disseminate one message, it would hit various platforms. Okay. Currently, in working closely with Radio Cayman team, we have the radio alert system, which is one such mechanism. But we're trying to integrate as much channels, because there are times not everyone will be listening to the radio, but we do have persons who may have their phones beside them, so they could get either a mobile app being notified. So we're looking to really have this implemented for this hurricane season. I think it's going to really change the way how we inform the public. I think the public is, given the recent pandemic in particular, persons are really, going for the information, requiring the information, need to be in the know. I think once the public is in the know, both for, as it relates to not just notifications, but also looking in terms of information that could provide them useful in terms of tips and information that could basically save lives.
Instruction and guidance, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. So one of the things that we're looking carefully is to ensure that the public is, is aware and they're sensitized and understand, the risks and the level risks as well, because, where there might be a low, a medium, and a high risk. So that's where we're trying to establish that mechanism.
Maybe ask of you two things. The first, go back to when you say the notification, whether not just using the radio, but how do you say the cellular devices? But we all have these things attached to our hips, right? We are in the hurricane season according to the calendar we've ascribed to it now. When would you be able to say as a official, okay, we've got this thing working, and if something was to happen, we need to utilize it? We noticed there have been tests. We know we've deployed equipment, but if God forbid we are on the watch next week or next month, would we be utilizing it?
Well, that's a very good one. Currently, we're doing testing right now. We're doing some soft testing with the vendor, and what we are hopefully, we're aiming before the end of the hurricane season to have the system fully implemented. If God forbid, and there is a category 4 or 5 coming, we possibly could fast track, aspects of the system or increase the number of channels that we currently exist. So, it's working in the pipeline. We're working a lot. I mean, Lennox himself and Patrice is part of the team, the technical team, alongside, the various stakeholders from the Department of Public Safety as well as the Ministry is playing a critical role, and several other key stakeholders, including OFRIC. And, and then such a system has to, ensure the feedback from the public is paramount and critical.
So true. And before I ask the second question, either Mr. Vernon or if you want to weigh in to that question, I mean, it's only because I think as a public we have to recognize that we have a role. At one point I maybe want to ask about the CERT teams. For us as businesses to have the continuity plans, for us as families to have our own personal family plan to know, well, if something happens, and not just for hurricanes, but something else. Now, notification and utilization of the various platforms. If you want to weigh in and add anything, go right ahead. If not, I'll ask about the second question. No? Okay, fair enough.
Sorry. So I'll just add to what Mark said. As he mentioned, Mark is working very, very diligently trying to get the software system set up. There's quite a bit of work that hasn't come down the pipeline yet that Mark is anticipating. And once that come down, some customization for the rollout, he's going to do that. But as he mentioned, at the moment we are in testing with the vendor. And we conducted a test as recently as last week. So if push come to shove, something does impact us, some sudden onset type of event, we can send something out. It may not be the way we intend for it to work, but it might be some type of notification. Moving on from that, we're with the National Emergency Notification System. There's so many different facets that play into how that is rolled out. And although we're only at phase 2 propels us so far forward. So right now we have phase 1, which is the radio interrupt. Phase 2 will allow us to send multiple messages to a device. Phase 3 onward, we're looking at email, IP phones, crawling messages, and the like. So this platform that we are procuring at the moment gives us the ability to do that. So we are moving in the right direction. The future looks very bright. So if...
Yeah, I saw it earlier with those young ladies, driving the voters registration. Oh, you meant this. No, hey, I say that because without a little laughter, you can imagine there'll be no smiles on anybody's faces.
Yep.
Could I then ask then, we like systems that have integrity, whatever they are. If you're an auditor, you want to make sure that as you go through, police officer collecting evidence, before this thing needs to be credible, it needs to be timely, it needs to have integrity. Structural integrity then, from that perspective, Mark referenced, it was 7.7, how quickly we forget the magnitude of the earthquake. Are there any concerns? Mark, maybe bring you back in and start with you first if you wish, as sort of mitigation. Are there any concerns that the last earthquake, or the earthquake, being of the magnitude that it was, that could structurally make some of the buildings unsound or prevent us from using them, or provide some caution as we do the initial valuations? How does that play into the whole equation?
Well, I'm very happy you questioned that question. Based on what we have done, after the 7.7 magnitude earthquake, the infrastructure cluster headed by John Japal from Planning Department, they basically assigned teams who go out and do an initial assessment to look at the infrastructure. And these are persons who are trained within the area, persons with the knowledge. So from that assessment, they would ascertain in terms of what requirements, in terms of repairs, or if this building would be intact. So there's a mechanism in place to basically assess and ensure these buildings are safe. And thus far, based on the report that we have presented, there have been, pretty good building codes and standards implemented in the Cayman Islands, which is the country should be credited for this, and the government, which is very stringent. And I think that has really worked, and it has demonstrated, how resilient the infrastructure is. There might be areas in which we have damage has occurred, and those areas have been addressed, and we actually have data collected. So if we should have another event per se, we know what would be the problem areas or the hotspots or the potential areas that could be impacted.
Mm-hmm. And that's encouraging. I think back as you were answering, Lennox, to our parents and grandparents in particular when they were building their homes, and when they, as Mr. Loxley yesterday reminded us, it's not zinc roof, it's zinc, right? Yep. And they would hammer. Isn't that how we say it? And they hammer the nails into it, and then they bend them back because they were doing that thing that they knew helped to secure, the
much more reinforcement, right. I guess.
And it worked. And if we looked at some of the older homes, they stood not structurally, but their roofs were fairly much intact. The zinc wasn't off compared to some of the newer builds that may have employed a different, more efficient way of securing the roof. So we have the technical expertise, we have the building code, we have the competence and the integrity in the construction sector. Or to make the assessment a little easier, but it comes back then to the physical capacity, making it much more difficult given the imposed sort of protocols with respect to limitations. So how are you going to find the other 92% coverage?
Well, at the moment, 92%, that's 100% capacity.
That's what I'm looking for.
I appreciate that, and talking about a tall order, they say aim for the moon, and if you fall, you land in the clouds.
So I say aim for the stars, and if you fall, you still hit the sun.
Well, you're even a lot further than that. But anyway, as I mentioned before, we're aiming for 30%, and that in itself is a challenge, simply because most of the Class A shelters that we have assigned now are relatively old buildings. Unfortunately, 2020 compared to 2019, we've had to take one such shelter off the list because it didn't meet the basic standard. And again, these expertise we borrow or use from the Public Works Department. So each year we go out and do or conduct inspections with these shelters. We are looking at structural integrity. We are looking at the roof. We're looking at mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and so on. So the team, along with us, go out and do a thorough assessment that if a building doesn't meet a particular standard, we make a decision to either keep it on there or recommend that it be taken off with, evidence.
Can we then ask? We were given this question informally. We said we would pass it along. We'd ask it publicly. Okay. You don't wish to, or if it's not prudent to respond now, you may just say, well, they can contact us and here's the best way. We were asked by a number of employees, not the owners of the buildings, not the senior managing people in the organization, but employees in organizations that are working in some of the larger, newer commercial businesses. I don't even want to say the Class A offices because I wouldn't know whether they are or not. But these newer structures, and some of the employees have asked, well, how does our building get to be a shelter? Some have said, our employer has said to us, listen, come here, we're on the 5th floor, we're on the 100th floor, I'm not sure what the height is now. Come and stay, bring your families, don't bring your pet, or if you bring your pet, go on this floor. But one or two have asked, well, is that a safe place? It looks high. Is there a process by which a building can be that? How does the people, the owner, the managers make the application for assessment? Stuff like that. So you have an assurance that, okay, you're in this building and it meets the criteria.
Okay, the first recommendation, and Lennox, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but the first recommendation is we would advise them to contact Hazard Management. They can contact Mr. Vernon here, and we would work along with Public Works to visit these sites and inspect the buildings. Public Works would come out with their MEP team, and they would do the inspection and initially make their recommendation whether or not the building is suitable for a shelter. And that would be.
Okay, I appreciate that, because what I say, just do things, called hazard management. I didn't say
it may be that they may have it as a shelter for their employees and immediate family, or if they so wish to have it as a public shelter, then that could also be.
Just for clarity, this was the employees asking about being able to use it as employees and feeling my inference, feeling that the employees being generous, but am I safe in this building? Inferring again that just because it's a multi-story building, don't assume that it's safe because it's a multi-story building.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely. The expertise in terms of building and after the planning phases, the building has been constructed and so on. Certainly, the Public Works Department experts would contact the proprietors of the building and say, hey, please provide us with plans and so on, so that they can determine at what capacity the building could hold in terms of people, as well as assign a type of rating. So, for instance, it's capable of withstanding a Category 3 or Category 4 wind event. To that end, I should also share with you that we've gone through a process, again, trying to increase our capacity this year, and we've inspected almost 20 facilities this year, both public and private, to attempt to reach that increased activity for the 2020 season. So again, as we move forward, we also have to consider, the age of buildings and so on. So as we move in the future, some will come off, some new ones will come on. And I should also add that the director has started a process about a year or two ago where she was communicating with private facilities that if we inspected the building and it met the standards, that we would conduct some training with the staff members that they can manage that building appropriately during a wind event.
It's a building that they're familiar with. They work there every day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what I've also learned is that there's so many things to consider, for having a site or a building as a shelter. One of the main things is elevation.
Yes.
So it's, not because a building is maybe 2-story high, but then the elevation might not be of a standard where it's supposed to be a shelter. So
I tell people, short people always looking up, so they see the bright side of everything. So
I don't have that problem.
Now he reminds me.
Low blow.
Hitting below the belt, man. Yes, that's rough, man. Don't worry. I call your sister. No. Ooh, get scared now. Mr. Mark, I know that, your colleagues here have, important things to get back to, and as fun as it is to enjoy laughing at me here, they actually earn their keep. So in closing out, sir, could we start with you and maybe have you share with us anything you wish, even if you want to repeat and recap or emphasize? Would that be okay with you?
I'm sure. I think what's important, as a typical saying, which my parents always say to me, sometimes people don't necessarily plan. Nobody plans to fail. We just simply fail to plan.
See, I thought your parents told you wash hands before you eat, but okay.
Yeah. So nobody will plan for this. Just say, yes, this is going to happen, but we need to just simply plan accordingly ahead of time. And that's what, the entire organization, the entire government, CIG itself, is working towards to ensure that we have a safe Cayman,
Indeed, amen.
Accordingly, So. And thanks to the team and thanks again to the public for the support. And we have seen again, with COVID experience, working together as a team and as a country, will get us to the right place.
Amen. Appreciate that.
No problem, sir.
Enjoy your afternoon, and props.
Well, for me, my closing thoughts are preparedness and planning. Never fail to prepare and always have a plan in place.
You can't top that, but try.
I'll try. A general kudos to the director, as well as the government. I think this year, or since I've been there, the director's really taken on new vision in terms of putting in place creative ways of achieving the same thing and or better. So kudos to that. The one thing I would say to the listening audience is, again, while you have a government in place, while you have a HMCI in place that are doing our endeavor best to make preparations for you, for the country, make sure that you prepare for yourself. Have a plan in place at home, buy your goods and stocks and so on beforehand, have a evacuation plan, determine where you're going to go, whether it's a shelter or, another family member's house or whatever, and do that in advance. Just don't wait until the last moment, because you might turn up at a shelter and they're filled, over capacity, and you might hear, sorry, it makes no sense for you to stay here. Now you're hustling and trying to figure out where you're going to actually.
Yeah. Planning beforehand, as our parents and grandparents say, make provision. So think about, each and every member of the family, the children as well as the pets, even your goldfish. I mean, we're going to put it on the shelf. You don't want to be rushing at the last minute. So have your grab bag, so you can go and do what you got to do.
To that end, the last thing I would say is visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky, and there's a plethora of information on there. Of course, Simon, I think everyone is familiar with him, ensures that there's a lot of resource information on there. So family plans, emergency plans, and so on are littered on our website. So please visit and get prepared.
In addition, I would also like to say to have a point of contact outside of your immediate family.
Call Susan.
Even off island, yeah?
Even off island.
Yeah.
Very wise. All right. Well, listen, it goes without saying you have an open invitation, whether in person or a telephone call, to convey information to our public, not just in preparation for an impending, storm, as it were, but just to make sure information gets out. And I commend you for the continued excellent work, the service, the sacrifice. And some will see it on a daily basis, some will never see it, and that makes it so seamless that you do these things with such professionalism that we can remain safe and not even have to think about some of the things. So even the website is there, we can access it when we want with timely, relevant, accurate information. Please, feel sense of pride knowing that many of us recognize and appreciate your effort. So enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Get some good chocolate on the way out. Take one, leave four. Yeah, makes better sense.
I'll take the one, Lennox can have the four.
All right. All the best to you, and again to Mark. And Lennox, always a pleasure to see you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Evening.
And to our listeners, we'll tell you more when we come back, but it's going to be some open line. I'm going to encourage Miss Susan to sing a song for us, And man, you're talking about a voice. You got to listen. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Good and cleaner.
A reminder of the standard 10% off prepay on wedding dresses and gowns, also household items, drapes, bedspreads, area rugs, and more. 10% prepaid discount can also apply to all wearing apparel, $17 and up. These discounts at all our stores. Savannah Countryside, 946-1884. Elgin Avenue, 949-2452. 337 Eastern Avenue, drive-through rain or shine, 949-7104. Call our seamstress, Miss Kathy, at 949-2452. Elgin Avenue for all your adjustments and repairs. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Hi, this is Danny Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. We are now in the hurricane season, and for information on how to prepare and stay safe, please visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky. Some top tips to bear in mind, given that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please make sure you have a mask and sanitizer, you have food supplies to last for 3 to 5 days, a portable radio, personal hygiene and sanitation items, and medical supplies, and any other specific items your family may need during a hurricane. Make sure you know where you will shelter in the event of a storm. If you have pets, please make sure provisions are in place for them too, as the majority of shelters will not take pets. Please visit our website for more tips and tricks on www.caymanprepared.ky or call us on 945-4624. Stay safe, Cayman.
Attention parents and guardians.
The upcoming school year will begin on August 26. Registrations are ongoing. Any child who's 5 years old by August 31st must be enrolled in an approved educational program, including government, private, or homeschooling. Detailed student registration guidelines and forms are available at the Department of Education Services website at schools.edu.ky or by emailing edu.registration@gov.ky.
You can also visit our Facebook page at Education Cayman.
I'm Acting Superintendent Brady Banks of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Speeding, drunk driving, and distracted driving are all extremely dangerous behaviors that can cause accidents and loss of lives that affect not only those involved, but their families and friends alike. We wish to remind all motorists, practice safe driving habits every time you get behind the wheel. Drive within the speed limit and don't drive if you've been drinking. Give 100% of your attention to the road when driving. Equally important to note, we are now entering into our rainy season. Historically, we tend to see increased road collisions due to weather conditions, often resulting in poor visibility and wet road conditions. Remember, extra attention is required if you're driving, as well as increased vigilance of other road users. Drive safely, Cayman Island.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. And Miss Susan reminded me that today is Wednesday. And she said, "You know how I know that?" And I said, "I don't know." She said, "Well, because yesterday was Tuesday." I said, "Oh, that's a good way to figure it out." No, it's another wonderful Wednesday, and we want you to be part of the remainder of our show. Call and share your thoughts in some open line. Very grateful to the team over at Hazard Management, as Mr. Lennox shared. The director does a phenomenal job. For those of us who are, perhaps never experienced a natural disaster, certainly a hurricane, I pray that we never have to. And not just for us here in the Cayman Islands, but for the entire region. We recognize that for some of us, we may think, oh, it's only a tropical storm, some rain and some wind. Thankfully, that's all it is. But it can result in flooding, the loss of life, damage to property, interruption of businesses. All sorts of things can happen, and then the consequences following on from the passage of such an event. If we can heed the advice and prepare, plan as best as we can, know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, understanding that some of us, when there is a crisis, an emergency, we get focus. We become very much in control. Others of us panic and we become all sorts of things except anything other than, being productive. We don't always know what it will be like until we experience it. So let's utilize the resources that are available. If there's a way that you can volunteer and use your skill set, certainly reach out to, Hazard Management as well. Now, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Mindful that we have a WhatsApp as well, and as much as I prefer to look at our guests and our listeners as we're talking, I sometimes, got to be very mindful. Wait a minute, manage and monitor all of the channels and pay attention. So, with the guidance of Ms. Susan, sometimes I actually manage to do it properly. But for us, the best thing is to have you call and share some thoughts with us. In addition to our last guest, I hope that I conveyed not just my pride, but the sense that we have in our society, people who are involved, who are endeavoring to be informed and engaged, and who, through their actions, want to include all of us so that we become very active, engaged, positive, productive citizens who at times are doing things not after the fact when it's too late, but beforehand in anticipation, so that we can not just mitigate against some negative consequence, but actually avoid it altogether and bring about a much better outcome. So to Ashley and Quinn for joining us earlier, they have arranged a voters registration drive tomorrow evening from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. over at Lucky Slice. That's upstairs in the Central Terrace, right on the waterfront there, and that beautiful Kirk Harbour building on the waterfront there. As they said, just come along. If you don't have all the documentation that you need, just give them their contact details and they'll help you through the process. What they did remind us is that there is, a relatively easy process, but it's an involved one. If I am correct in thinking, as I recall, there is no sort of closing of when you can register to vote. There is a cutoff period in which, if you want to get on the voters register, the electoral list, as it were, you need to do it in this time so that each quarter is vetted and then approved, and then you get on it. Now we have the general election scheduled for next year, May. I think they told us it was on the 26th. The 3rd or 4th of January or thereabouts would be when normally it's the cutoff time to be included on that voters list so that you can participate in the election 5 months later. As callers shared, picking up on what Ms. Quinn had relayed, could it be possible that that period could be extended so that it's not so far away from the actual election date, recognizing that we want to do the vetting process properly, we want to do the due diligence, get it through, make sure everything's in order. But is it possible that the cutoff date could be a little closer to the election date? Be also mindful, as our guest shared, that once you are 18 on election day or before election day, you can get registered, and then come election day, you can go and you can register. Now, if your birthday and you are 18 the day following, well, that's unfortunate. But for now, if you are celebrating your birthday on election day, and that is your 18th birthday or later, and you've registered to vote, hey, what a wonderful way to celebrate and to champion democracy. Now, there are many of us who are 18, 19, 20 who are not registered. Are there some of us that may be 40, 50, 60 and maybe older who aren't registered, eligible to register to vote? Perhaps give strong consideration to getting registered. Now, talk about that if you wish. Talk about anything else if you want. The thing that sort of resonates is their comments, as one of our callers shared, the fact that they recognize, with all great respect to everybody else, it's the younger generation who will probably be most impacted and for the longest time by decisions, actions, and inactions by government, private sector, politicians, and the rest of us, because they're either going to have to pay for the continuing debt, they're going to be affected by whatever it is that has happened or hasn't happened. So when they're considering voting, they want to vote because they want to be involved and they want to be informed, and this is a way to be engaged. Now, if you look at the statistics and you see, well, perhaps there are thousands of us who are eligible, to be registered to vote, but haven't. Well, if you're one of, those thousands, is there a particular reason? There's some people who, for, no other reason than known to them, they will refuse. And it's a free society. There are those of us who would not even consider that. We recognize the cost of freedom. We may have had family members who fought in wars, who may have been involved in other, things that ensure that people have that right to freedom of expression, choice in assembly and association, and the like. Now, there are some jurisdictions where you're automatically registered to vote when you get to this age or this particular thing occurs, it may be something that perhaps may happen here, but it isn't, and the process isn't terribly difficult, onerous, costly, or otherwise. And perhaps as important, we have involved citizens, young people taking the mantle who assist, not because they're in a particular hidden agenda or otherwise. They just understand the importance of being a part of a democracy. So give us a call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We want again to recognize the excellent program For the Record and Historic Honors, a phenomenal facilitation of the discussion. We shared sometime last week, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying this to joke in any which way, but was that last week I said that? Yes. No, that was last month. We commended the Department of Environmental Health for their stellar work, partnering with communities in cleanups. We commended them for being available, whether for a small fee or otherwise, to move derelict vehicles from private properties or roadsides. And to have that discussion this morning, it shares that a populace like ours, not only because it's unsightly, not only because it may pose health risk and hazards for motorists, cyclists, runners, walkers, and other road users, but the notion that the society doesn't want that. So when we come back from this break, let's ask the question, why is it that we are so prone to throw garbage in public spaces, or appliances in cars, or just littering the shoulders of the roads and the like? Well, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000. As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19 and get ready for the hurricane season, it is important to also protect our environment, which ultimately helps us live healthier, happier lives. Let's always remember, proper disposal of masks and other PPE, as with your normal garbage, avoid littering, and do not include any trash in your recycling. Protect yourselves and keep our islands clean. For full guidance, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
I'm Acting Superintendent Brady Banks of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Speeding, drunk driving, and distracted driving are all extremely dangerous behaviors that can cause accidents and loss of lives that affect not only those involved, but their families and friends alike. We wish to remind all motorists, practice safe driving habits every time you get behind the wheel. Drive within the speed limit and don't drive if you've been drinking. Give 100% of your attention to the road when driving. Equally important to note, we are now entering into our rainy season. Historically, we tend to see increased road collisions due to weather conditions, often resulting in poor visibility and wet road conditions. Remember, extra attention is required if you're driving, as well as increased vigilance of other road users. Drive safely, Cayman Island.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is open line 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flo 1-800-534-8255 or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. It's a Wednesday and it's the month of August, and I know many of us would have already had our vacation plans. We were taking the children away before school resumes, or we may have already gone early and now we're getting ready to come back. For some, that would also include enjoying time in our own country, whether it was on Grand Cayman or Le Brac or Little Cayman, whether you were at home or you found a place elsewhere. Well, it's a little bit different now. And I'll say this, and please, take me to the task if you think it's not the way to say it, but let us not make this the new normal where we're not able to engage each other. Let us not make this the new normal where we're normalizing behaviors that should, in my estimation, not be normal, where you're not considerate of others. You're not mindful of the things that may be transpiring in our minds innocently, the continual messaging of certain things. I shared that in that a friend was relaying what he considers to be the situation transpiring in certain parts of the UK, where for the longest time, constant messaging from the authorities, businesses are now closed and it's important to stay away and the like. Now they want to get the economy back up and running and people back out, understanding that for the UK, and this is his perspective, never lived nor worked there, and if it's not accurate because things have changed or because I don't have a first-hand perspective, I'm ill-informed, well, you let me know. But his perspective, as I understood, and he was very deliberate in ensuring that I got, his perspective. He said the pubs and the bars and those sort of things are social institutions, very important to the sanity, to the whole issue of society's health and well-being. And the smaller businesses from the salons and the like, well, they're struggling because people have been now conditioned to stay away with the messaging of, well, come on, let's go back out, and go back out in this way. Those businesses are struggling. So the financial, the economic impact is going to be significant. Not that he was trying to imply that the protection of human life isn't and shouldn't be of paramount importance. He was just saying, on one hand we were being told this, and now we have another message that people are staying away. He gave us an example. Particular days, if there's a farmer's market or a particular sort of my impression, sort of a sales day, 1,000 widgets would be sold, but now that vendor may be lucky to sell 10 because nobody's there. What consequence would that have? He also shared that there's much discussion again in the UK. I don't live nor work there. He said, for instance, whether you may consider it's going to be an issue with respect to the politics that are being played. There's an issue that some have shared about, wait a minute, now we're opening up the pubs, the bars and the restaurants and the like, but for some reason we're not putting as much emphasis on education, on schools. He shared that there is some, through the UK media, comments that maybe we weren't as cognizant of our young people in the early days. Maybe he says we're not as conscious of the impact that we may have had on people's sort of psyche when it comes to now having them become to the place where they are deliberately avoiding interacting not just with their loved ones, but unwilling to go out and embrace new experiences what extent, that's going to affect people, their socialization, their interaction. Maybe we don't know. For those of us who are able to talk to trained professionals, whether just to get information, whether it's because we're seeking counseling, whether it's just our personal interests and the things we read, we may, recognize that within the social sciences, the psychologists and the like have expressed and are expressing concerns that our society has been affected in a less than positive way, and that negative impact could mean that we're now being socialized in a new way that should not. If I understood what was being said to me by these very, very, educated and informed professionals, this should not be the new normal. And how many of us now, we go places and not only are we putting on our mask and show, according to the messaging that we are safe in ourselves and protecting others, but we put our hands out and we're sprayed with something that we're trusting is safe for us. Well, not to say that it isn't, but it's just to share that there's some who were saying, I guess I could phrase it this way, trust but verify. When we come back from our news break, during the last break, we had 3 messages. It was just 3 messages. One I may read if I can get the font big enough. But it was talking, all 3 of those messages were talking about the mosquitoes. The one said, it's good that it's being acknowledged and we're doing something about it, but are we doing enough? And what took us so long? Well, it was the gist of the message. There was 1 or 2 comments there that I thought, if I said that might actually cause a lot of trouble. And I don't know if that's advisable, but let's talk about the mosquitoes and what, if anything, can be done. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. We'll pause and take a break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. 950 pounds worth of ganja is seized and 2 men are under arrest after police tried to pull the men over around 10 p.m. Saturday night. They have been charged with importation and possession of ganja with intent to supply. In international news, rescue workers in Lebanon are searching for dozens of people missing a day after a huge explosion devastated the port area of the capital, Beirut. The blast, which shook the whole city, killed at least 113 people and injured more than 4,000 others. A 2-week state of emergency has been declared. The blast was caused by 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate stored unsafely in a warehouse. A prototype of SpaceX's next-generation Starship vehicle has successfully flown to an altitude of 500 feet. It's the first flight test in almost a year for the Raptor engine, which will be used to power Starship. It could pave the way for a spacecraft capable of carrying humans to the moon and Mars. Comedian Kevin Hart, singer Katy Perry, and other stars have come to Ellen DeGeneres' defense after allegations that her TV show is a toxic workplace. However, the show's one-time resident DJ has said he did experience and feel the toxicity of the environment. DeGeneres later apologized to staff, saying steps would be taken to correct the issues that had come to light. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Green Turtle,
Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our Wednesday's edition of Talk Today. We got some open line, 949-8037, or a toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255. Got a call on the line. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
Pretty good. You sound pretty lonely, so I decided to give you a call.
Hey, what's that song? You know, I'm a lonely, but I'm not alone. Or I'm alone, but not lonely.
Something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, you was talking about the garbage and also you was talking this morning guards for the vehicles here and there throughout the island. Sterling, I don't know what's going to take to get through to the people of these islands, especially the Cayman Islands. These people are not giving a rat's you know what. They just don't care how anything looks on this island. And I'm going to say, my own people is doing the same thing that we keep blaming the expats for. You understand? So we all need to get together and nip this in the bud before it gets any worse, because it's becoming a problem throughout the whole island. Garbage is being exposed in any old way on the side of the road. It can't be picked up properly because it's not bagged off properly. And I don't blame all workers that environmental health to go bend down there and be picking up each individual piece of garbage that someone did not put there properly. And I then say that they need to charge the people of this island for this garbage the way they're exposing it at their location, residence, apartment, and so forth. There are people that just simply don't care, and they are nasty. And when it comes to all the... Go ahead, Sterling.
Sorry, thank you. I was going to ask you, though, because you just used that last word, nasty, and that's kind of what, for some of us, would resonate when we hear our parents and our grandparents and people talk about, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I was wanting to know, what is it about us here in this time where whether it's the washing machine or the dryer, the fridge, the stove, or whatever, some appliance, sofa or anything, we just carry it somewhere away from the house and throw it in the dike, throw it along the side of the road. I mean, why are we doing that?
That's a good question. And those that are doing it, they should be listening right now and stop it. Because the police and other people cannot be the dog watcher on this island for who's doing those things. Look at how many cameras you put up here and there. They're gonna still get it out there, and they hear the camera wasn't working, and the officer was on duty, the security was on duty, and blah 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 blah. It just boils down to the people that we are living amongst here on this island. And I say it and I say it again, it's a pile of jealousy, because we are a tourist destination. We have nothing to depend on but tourism, in banking, in construction, and you want to tell me that they just can't keep the garbage in an orderly manner? Any car that is not working be taken to where it has to be taken instead of leaving it on the side of the road? We got garages that got their cars on the main road, and there's nothing being done about them. I mean, Sterling, when you drive to this island, it's like your heart want to break. Some areas you go, and you say, this is really Cayman. And you know, Sterling, getting to the vacation, stay vacation here in the Cayman Island.
Yeah.
Sterling, I would never, and I hope I don't have to be sorry about this later, I would never support one of those hotels or condo on the 7 Mile Beach for the way that we are being treated. When it comes that the visitors are here, you can't even walk the beach. They don't want to come up there and make security, come and run you from crossing their condos, their hotels. If I was to do my vacation, I'm going to East End, North Tortuga, and the Wyndham. But 7 Mile, they don't have any use for any Caymanians. And those fools are going down and investing their money just to say that they stay in the Ritz-Carlton and this one and the next one for relaxation and so forth. You can do it in your own backyard, go to the beach and come back home and go in the backyard, put your barbecue grill on. But you see, this is what happened to us. We are so high-minded and we forget where we're coming from. And we want to live like the Joneses. And then when we can't live like the Joneses no more, then we get jealous of individuals and we can't rub 2 pennies together. And when the assessment can't help us, then we say the government ain't no good. But I just hope that the assessment is keeping account of all this pension money, that when they come to look and help, they know who to give help to and who not to give help to.
Yeah. If I can ask you, though, because you said something that I know, and I said unfortunately and sadly, we've heard and are hearing all too often, even now, when seemingly there are no tourists here now. I say seemingly because presumably there are new faces coming into our country, whether they're, newly minted work permit holders who are being processed and are arriving for the first time, or there are others coming up, to take up residence or the like. But I've heard a number of instances where perhaps people are in line at some facility waiting to be seated and served and the like, and not being treated with professionalism. In fact, being slighted. One lady said she was in line with her family, and I called the attendant. Walked past them instead of okay, you're next, and went to assist some others. And well, was it a issue of color? Was it an issue of perception? And that's unfortunate, because I don't think we want that here.
Perception. They look at those guys and say, you know what, they ain't gonna tip me. I'm going to the other one first.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Sterling, let me tell you something. We are here depending on government to do everything for us, keep everything in order. Government we got the police department. Just about every business have their own security guards on it. We got a hospital, and you know what we got. And every time something falls, we blame it on the government because we are not working together. And government got so many laws out there that's broken. And still them going into that house and try to fix some of these laws to get our lives more straightened up, especially on the roads and when we go to the grocery stores and so forth. No, they're too busy outside there doing this, like, they got a name change now. I can't call the name. I don't want to get involved in that because it's to its own. I give you a little joke. I was at a gas station this morning, and I'm going to spell it how it was. This is like Aiden me walking up to the door. She grabbed the door lock, and that son of a gun let that door right off in my face. And I ran up to her, and I said to her, I said, "Miss," I was right behind you, Oh, I didn't know. I said, "Really?" I said, "Really?" But I said, "You know what? Today for you and tomorrow for me." We got to stop disrespecting people. I'm not a racist person, but you let me tell you, Sterling, I'm going to spell it out just how I see it. And that's what do us now in here in Cayman. We sit down and make people come and do as they please to us. And we won't do anything. We don't have to fight nobody, but you have to make them know that we are human beings. You come and find us here, you got to respect us. If you want respect, you give respect and receive respect. And another thing, the garbage and everything else, it has to come to a halt. And it doesn't make sense to have a member in the house that is part of the environmental health, and they're not coming out here and putting some X's by these doors in regards to people's garbage. And if I had a son driving a garbage truck or picking up garbage, you let me tell you something. I would go in the corner and beg them to eat every day time to pick up the garbage that these people are dropping at their doorstep and don't have no respect for our garbage, man. It's a shame how they're being treated.
I hear you, man, especially this time when we are expected to be safe and everything they're out there. So, hey, thank you very much for sharing that, Mom. Have a wonderful afternoon, okay?
You too. Thanks.
God bless.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right, let's take another caller. Welcome, good afternoon, thanks for calling.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, man, I was listening earlier and I couldn't help but to call because the woman was talking about nasting and you mentioned a line there about cleanliness is next to godliness. But I don't think that line mean anything to keep on, you know.
Talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking.
Why won't find out? They say God wiped out a whole nation for nastiness, right? And now people is looking to get rights for nastiness and fighting for it like some lions in a den, you know. But what about me now that want to smoke my natural herb now, and a police got chase me down with a baton and beat me to pieces for smoking something natural? But you want rights and protection for your nastiness?
I hear you, I'll engage you, but just for those who are joining, when I said nastiness, as I know you know, I was talking about us littering the road and throwing our garbage. But from your perspective, though, right now, smoking herb, ganja, cannabis, marijuana, whatever it's called, is in the Cayman Islands under our law, it's illegal, right?
It's illegal,
right? So if it's
in God's sight,
no,
what I think is
right.
Legal?
Yeah. So what I want to ask of you, if our laws are supposed to reflect the norms, the values of a society, so if take your 2 points, if the society is saying smoking ganja should be illegal, so we make it illegal. Now we've seen seemingly the society must be saying that we should make homosexuality, that's what you're talking about, right? Legal, because our parliament, or as they call themselves, right, our legislative assembly, through the government has brought legislation to say, hey, we want this to be this way because it now reflects the majority view of society so that the laws can conform. Am I overreaching in that interpretation, or is not what the laws of a nation should be, reflecting the values of its society?
Well, to me, when it comes to this country, it should be what the people say and what the people want.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
We is the one that put them there. You understand? So they're not supposed to do what they feel like, right? And then at the end of the day, I hear the closing statement that I want is, what you say? Saddened by the outcome. Man, listen to me, man. They need to pull up their pants and tighten it tight. Because we don't want that. You understand?
Yeah, man.
To me, if they legalize them, they're going to open the door for everything else. Because you can't be legal and then, I still getting my shirt tear off of me for a little smoke of ganja. You understand?
Yeah, man. So what do you think then, if in the next election, I beg Ms. Susan for a second more, in the next election you have one candidate or a team of candidates or a party or whomever saying, listen, let's just use legalizing ganja, and as the word I got use, whether it's cannabis, whatever, forgive me, we call it ganja here. They come forward and say, we got to legalize it, decriminalize it, however you phrase it. How do you think the voters are going to respond to that candidate? Are they going to say, yep, that's a man or woman with courage, I'm going to vote for that person because of that? They may not vote for him for other reasons, or will they say, he off his rockers, no X for you, but how do you think right now, today, if the election was...
You got a lot more voters that would prefer to take that than the homosexuality thing.
No, I hear that, but if that candidate got up and says, you know what, one of my things, maybe my top 10, my top 3 is going to be, look into legalizing this or decriminalizing it, because apparently there's a difference. You got a spliff, you're not going to get your shirt tore off, as you shared. Do you think that the voters will, elect that person if that was the...
Yes.
You think so?
They would look at him with more respect for legalizing ganja than legalizing homosexuality. I can tell you that.
Okay.
All of them that voted yes for that is basically walking dead now, you know. So I don't know what they got to do next election.
Yeah, well, God damage it, maybe postpone. I don't know. I shouldn't. Anyway, listen, I don't want to dismiss you, but what else you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, I just feel like I want to put my point out there, you know?
Yeah, man. Thank you for doing that.
All right, Sterling.
Anytime you want to say anything, listen, this is your radio station, your airwaves. If they've called not free to you, find somebody, give some credit. No, just kidding. And you call and share your thoughts. All right?
Yeah, man.
Blessings to you, man. Blessings.
All right.
Cool. Listen, let's pause and take a break. Thanks for that, couple extra seconds, Miss Susan. When we come back, we'll talk today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Important announcement for Caymanian tourism sector employees. The Ministry of Tourism's Displaced Tourism Employees Stipend has reopened for new registrants only until August 7. Caymanian tourism sector employees who have not yet applied for stipend program and are no longer employed are encouraged to apply via the online portal stipend.ourcayman.ky by August 7th. For more information, email stipend@caymanislands.ky.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in your hand. Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in your hand.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our continued discussion as we close out today's Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255 if you want to call our toll-free number and share your thoughts. Likewise, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. What do you think about the last caller's sentiments with respect to legalizing the use, the personal consumption and the like for ganja, marijuana, cannabis? Would you be in favor of that if there was a decision to be made? If you think a decision needs to be made, should it be by referendum or should the elected government of the day, put forward whether private members' motion or bring legislation to, make it legal? If it is, would you say it needs to be in this manner and in this manner only? Would you look at the whole idea of the propagation? How do we farm it, produce it, grow it? Get it ready for people to use, however that is done. And I want to say that, in that, could it be that one, that ensures the quality, the safety of it? Could it be that it becomes a very, very important part of the economic engine? Could it be that the plant is used in other ways? All right, let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Marion. I know you don't have much time left of your show, but it's gratifying to hear the young people on early
Yes,
on.
sir.
Urging people to be registered to vote. And I do agree that we could shorten our time before the ending of the registration for the elections. I definitely think it could be shorter.
Yes, sir.
Several MLAs here so over the years. With regards to what the gentleman was saying, and one thing they need to remember is this, and it is sadly lacking amongst our people. Remember, and I'll stress it over and over, like the long playing record Black Arthur used to talk about, the long record, you all know what I'm talking about. God bless his memory, my good friend. That we're a British Crown colony, and it ties in with what that young man was just saying. We are. The many things that we like for representatives to do, and the many great ideas young people may have in mind, which we know we change our minds as we get older. As the young lady said, she's not quite prepared yet. She said the right thing. Because we do the same things I thought when I was 20 years old, and I was at the head of where I could get with that job that I had. And I was bonded by the company and everything. I've changed my mind from many of the thoughts I had in mind then, even by the time 10 years after, 5 years after that. Life teaches you the experience of life. The greatest university is life, working on life. You will change your opinion on certain very important issues. The only reason why that bill came up in our parliament or legislative assembly is because we are a crown colony, a crown territory. That's the only reason why. It didn't come up because the Premier suddenly thought, let's do this, let's do that. And we knew about it being imminent on us, that we would have to make that decision. We knew about that. It's not something that just came up in 30 days. That's not true. You know, we say the regiment and things like that. One of the very first bills that was passed, voted in the first election, December 10th, 1831 was the first elections, but actually the first meeting was on December the 31st, or the 1st of January, actually, the following year. But one of the first things passed in that sitting was that there had to be a law that all men aged 16 to 60 had to bear arms as to form a militia. Of course, the reason for it was that there had been a huge slave rebellion in Jamaica. There had been many uprisings there over the years. 50,000 slaves were involved, and 330-something slaves were executed by Governor Belmore, the British governor here. Actually, he was an Irishman from Belmore, Ireland, but he had them executed for that famous or infamous rebellion, the Kensington Rebellion, it was called, Kensington or Christmas Rebellion, and that influenced that vote that there might be a similar thing that would happen here. So that was one of the first 4 laws to form a militia. So it's nothing new. The idea of a regiment in a colony, that's always been. They have always had a regiment and so forth. That's why it's good for us, as Mr. Loxley is saying, to go back into our history and learn it. But what he was saying is this. It's not that I don't disagree with him. It's quite possible that we'll have to make some movement towards making it not a criminal act for someone to go out there and smoke some stick of weed if they want to do that. Within reason, it has to be an adult or so forth, and the government could tax it. I think they might move towards that. There might be opposition to it. I mean, but it might come about. It probably will come about. The other thing, though, we knew that we had to make some kind of adjustment, serious adjustment to our laws to allow this type of union. Yes, in a conservative Christian country, all of us were brought up in a strict rigid, as the Premier said in his talk and his winding up. But realism, you must be realistic. As long as we are British Crown territory, and we cannot blame His Excellency or anything. Yes, no one told us. This is what we will be faced with. We will be faced with decisions to be made that is not acceptable or palatable to us. But we will have to see with our elected representatives, and they may say, no, won't do it, and others may be elected who you think will say, oh, yes, we will make sure that they will see what it's like when they're getting there. It's a horse of a different color. That's why it's good to have old heads in there who can steer the new ones.
But if I could, sorry, and I thoroughly, honestly enjoy engaging with you and listening and learning from you, and I want to be mindful of your time. But if I could just ask, when we look at the UK, the fact that we are, as you say, when it comes to legislation, have to get their consent, their permission, and the like. If there is any truth to the comments that we expect very imminently, the UK, through the Governor's Reserve powers to implement the Domestic Partnerships Bill to make same-sex marriage legal within our country. Two quick questions then. One, in your perspective, do you think that is something in and of itself, as some have threatened, should propel us to, consider independence? And then the second thing is, if, as the Honourable Premier had shared when we came to the financial considerations and the financial sector relative to the registry for, beneficial ownership, I'm begging Ms. Susan for a couple of seconds here. Do you then think if that was an overreach, as the Premier alleged, in that sector for the financial services, would it not be the same in this sector? So those two things, I know they may be a bit involved, but is independence on the table? What is your quick thoughts?
The thing is, it's that the financial sector thing is about money, which carries a lot of weight, as we all know. But we may have to do, or we will probably have to do that too. To the beneficial ownership, many people are looking for it, where you have to think the common man has to declare everything, and certain people have to on certain things, and we ask for certain companies, and then we say no. So that's a very complicated thing.
Yes, sir.
The idea is that it is imminent. That's the Premier said. If you know that this can be imminent, why not try to make it a better way than having that full-fledged change to our marriage law? You could amend certain things in it and make it more acceptable to the general, our Caymanian generational populace, make it more acceptable by amending the laws, the bill he brought, or so forth. We could do, and we may have a chance, a time when they say you'll have to implement this to back and forth things with them. But it's best to have, in fact, in place. We can't just keep saying, let's put this off, it may not happen, as we did over the last 2 years when we knew that this was coming. Let's keep pretending that it won't happen. The Premier, in his realistic way and leadership qualities, said, I think we had better do this to make it better than what they might do. Because the government up there can change. We heard the opposition minister, who is the shadow minister, that's what it means, minister on the opposition side, who is intending to be, if they take over the government, the minister for that position. That's what a shadow minister is. It's the opposition minister who they have already decided would be the minister for that, say that they must do it. So what happens if they get in power? Do you see what I'm saying?
I follow you. Right.
But thank you for listening to me.
Yes, sir. Always.
One day maybe we can talk more on this. And other people have different views and so forth. But it's one thing we must never forget. We are a British crown colony, crown territory, and it changes many of our views.
Yes,
when
sir.
we accept and understand that.
Right.
It changes our views on many things. Thank you very much again for listening. Thank Ms. Susan for giving that.
Yeah, and buy us some chocolate now. But thank you for sharing, sir. And thanks to all of our listeners and those who contribute. It is very, very important that we understand that with their rights come responsibilities. With our comments, there should be a degree of, civility and respect. And hopefully all in Sunday equally would appreciate that if the democracy is going to be healthy, we have to champion it. If it's going to be, of any value, we have to be involved. And if we're going to engage, we've got to be informed so that we can make, the very best decisions. Never be dogmatic, but don't be so, wishy-washy that you're jumping from, jack of both sides. Now, as we understand, and again, keep following the news and pressing the media to keep us informed. Keep engaged with your politicians so that they, understand that there's a expectation of accountability and transparency. It may be that what we're hearing, that this legislation will be imminent. You may hear it in the next news cycle. It may be tomorrow or next week. It may be on the table come next month. But again, where do we stand and what is important to us? Now, Miss Susan, I'll take 40 seconds more. No, I was kidding. Please join Miss Sabrina tomorrow as she brings you the buzz. And, we got talk today. We got Mr. Locks the Banks. So, we got Monday Sense. Miss Susan reminds me, I'm losing track of the time. It's a Monday, it's a Thursday. It's a good time. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today.